behind. Catch up.
Or zip a folder and submit it, we have to go up one other hierarchy or one other level. We're going to go into our repos folder. And again, it's going to note the previous folder that we're in. And on mine, you're going to see a bunch, but I'm going to either move them or delete them. So we can only see the day one demo, and I just lost it. Get rid of the zips. Oh, there it is. And this will be your repos folder right now, unless you have made any other projects that you have worked on before coming to the class. This is what yours should look like if you are following along. This is the folder that you're ultimately going to end up being turned in, but we have to compress it. So on Windows 11, you're going to right-click the folder, and what you can do is show more options. And I right-click the wrong space, so we're going to right-click it again. We're going to look at compress 2. You're going to get 3 different options and then additional options. Always make sure it is a zip file. Sometimes
right past this.
And ints to start.
Right here.
And talk about the different ways to declare, initialize, and assign or define them. So we're going to first start with declaring.
Okay.
So we start with the int keyword, and then we're going to give it a name, and the name has to be not a reserved word, a reserved keyword. Cannot contain spaces, can't start with a numeric number, and follows a specific naming convention that we're going to go into on day 2. But we can say int x. So we have an integer identified as x. We want to define a value or assign a value to x. We simply say x equals whatever value that we want. So in this case, 3. I'm going to also try and zoom in a little bit so it's a little bit easier.
To define declaration.
And then if we were going to initialize an integer value, or integer variable, I'm sorry. So initializing, unlike declaring, is or assigning, it's combining both at the same time for the same line. So we can say int y, and we can assign it the value of 2. If we wanted to reassign the value of y, it's going to be the same deal like we did with x. We can just say y equals 5, or whatever value that we want. Please keep in mind that assigning or defining a value of a variable, you do not provide the type. You only provide the type when you declare or initialize the variable. Something we'll go on in a little bit more in depth in day 2 is if we try and do that. So we have an int x and an int y already made. So if I say int x equals 2, it might not yell at me now, but when I go to run it, we're getting an error text. And we don't want to check this ever. The do not share this dialog again. We want it to always display. And the reason for that is if you click yes on this, so it's asking there were build errors, would you like to continue and run the last successful build? If you click yes, and you're not thinking about it, and like I'm guilty of this, basically everyone does this, is like if there's a pop-up and you're not reading it, a lot of people don't, you just click it, it's going to run the previous working version of your code. So it's not going to display anything that you have currently done that is breaking the program. And if you're not thinking about it, like you've been working on it for several hours, you haven't taken a break, you're not really thinking about it, you just click it, you may end up thinking that what you have is correct, and because it displayed, and you may have the false impression that you're good to go to continue with whatever is next in the project. You're always going to want to click no here. That way it won't run, and you'll be able to see the errors. And again, we're going to go more into this in day 2, but we
Okay, so
can see the error list right here, and the actual error right here. And understanding the error text is pretty important. Some of it's easier to understand, some of it not so much. And we'll go, like I said, we'll go into that in day 2. So if whatever you're writing, you get an error, it's going to appear in the error list. And what you can do, if you don't understand the error and you just want to try and rewrite it, is you can comment out the line with 2 slashes. Or highlight it, Control-Shift question mark, and it will comment it out for you, if it happens to be a multi-line thing. Next, we're going to do the same thing for strings. So we're going to do a string for hello. That's an initialization. We're going to say string world. We're not going to give it a value on that line. We're going to say world equals world. And then we can also do concatenation, which is going to be string greeting equals hello plus world. And I've actually put comments on these. I'm going to say this initializes the string hello, which is the value hello. This declares the string variable world. This assigns the string variable world the value of world. And this will chain or combine the values of hello string variable and the world string variable. And we can output, again, a world with this reading variable. And then the text on that is, remember that the endl closes the IO stream and creates a new line. Then move this around just a little bit. Maybe minimize it a little bit. There we go. Question from online, green comments are for us always? Yes. So they exist in the program, they do take up space because they are characters, but they are not compiled, they're not executable code. They are just annotations or notes for yourself or anyone else on your team for what you're doing. So say you're working on a big enterprise project, like you're working on Snapchat or Instagram, and you're writing new functionality, you're writing new things, and you have a team of 5 people, and it's like 3 people are the day shifts, 2 people are the second shift, and the second shift immediately follows what the day shift is working on. You want to provide notes and explanations for what you did to the following shift, your team members, so they know what you've done, and they can follow your lead and continue building off what you're doing. Or for yourself, it's just notes to reinforce your knowledge to understand what you're doing. So with that in mind, with the variable declaration, initialization, and assigning declaration, we want to talk about variable names. So string hello, string world, string greeting, we all have context to what they would do. But however, if we're talking about the ints that I made, int x, int y, we know that its examples integers. But if we're working on an actual application where those numbers might have contextual meaning for something, so say like we're calculating somebody's age because we accepted their age via a calendar widget, so we get a date time type back where we're actually getting like, we'll use 12 to 1990 as an example. That's not an actual int, because typically in those calendar widgets, it's either going to be a dash or it's going to be a slash indicated right between the month and the day. And there's things that we can do to convert it to an actual integer that we can store an age. So having int x that stores a date time for somebody's birth date doesn't mean anything. If it's just a small application, sure, you can get away with it. But if you use that in an enterprise scale application where you're talking about like 1,500 like actual files that you might be working in, and it's like you're 50 files deep, and it's made in file 1, and you're in file 50, and there's no like actual annotation or documentation to like realistically give you an idea of what you're doing, x means nothing to you. It wouldn't mean anything to me. So you want your variable names to be contextually relevant to what you're doing. So in this case, for assignment 1, we ask you to ask the user for their first name and their age. So it's a good idea to have something like this set up so we know as programmers exactly what the meaning and the purpose for that variable is. oh, I'm not going to show verbatim the solution to asking for the first name, asking for the user age. I'm going to ask for two different things, but you can make the inference of, oh, hey, we're prompting the user, we're accepting information, we're doing something with the information, we're asking for another. Piece of information, we're accepting the information, and we're doing something. So now, since we've done cout, we've done ints, we've done strings, we've done concatenation, now we're going to actually prompt the user for something and collect data. So in this case, we're going to prompt for the user's favorite game. So string fav game, make it an empty string, and then we have to actually prompt the user. So if we were to just run this, there's nothing for the user to type in, there's no question for the user, there's no context for the user to do anything, it would be nothing. So we have to provide an output, so a cout statement. And if we ran this, we would see the question, but we're not allowing the user to type anything in. And if we wanted to kind of follow suit with the slide demo, we're going to say another output of cout for game. We're not going to provide NL because we want it to be on the same line. And then we're going to do a send statement, or a cn, and we're going to extract to the fav game variable. And then we're going to have a cout to basically show that we've collected information from the user, and we're outputting it. And then before we actually run it, I am going to comment everything that I just did.
Right. We provide a question, creating a variable, and commenting output. Quote, two quotes, because those are two questions or a question, and then we'll set int line. It's prompting a game for the user to type the word.
I'll give everyone a few minutes to kind of catch up with the notes, because I type pretty fast. And then we'll actually go and run it.
Then end line to go down after the user types the game. After the user types the game, it ends the line.
So we see the hello world, which is what we get when we first create the project. We see, this is a quote in the string, so we can see the quotes with the escape characters. We see the hello world that we built off of the hello world and greeting variables. We then prompt the user, what is your favorite game? We see that right here. We see game, and we can see, hopefully, this blinking cursor right here. My favorite game tends to change quite often. Right now it's a combination between Doom Dark Ages and Night Rain, so I'm going to say PDA. And you can see the output on the final line. Your favorite game was the Dark Ages. So if we go ahead and run that again. Type in Night Rain. Thing to take note on is the user can type whatever they want. So later on, we can come up with ways that can force the user to provide something that we ask for. But currently, right now, the user can type in whatever they want. So what's your favorite game? Apple. So there's no user, what's the term I'm looking for? Verification or validation for an actual game. It's not like they're typing something in, it checks like a database of every game that's ever made, and then it says like, hey, you didn't type in a game name correctly. It's just gonna output what they type. So like, if we run it one more time, just to like drive that home, I'm gonna type in my name, and you'll see it say my name. The other thing that the C++ console specifically does is in some languages you can leave the string empty and press enter or return whatever happens on the keyboard. This language will not. So I accidentally clicked a square bracket and then press enter, so it ended. What's going to happen is if you press space or leave it just as is it's still going to be looking for the user to type something. So I'm going to press space, press enter, same deal. I press L, it's good. So you have to provide something with a sensing. We have any questions on anything that we've gone over? You can. I'll do an example for that. So to use getLine, we have to include string.
GetLine. Example.
I'm not sure I understand the question, Patrick. If you're talking about this, it's just this and block. And then you can click it to jump, or you can drag and sort. Oh, you don't have it there. What is it function called? That's a great question.
The int main method has cout, cin, and a few string variables.
I would have to get back to you. Amara, Kevin, or Phil might know the actual technical name. When you get into lab or open lab, they might know. Otherwise, I can look it up later tonight.
There's some prompts for the user from those string
yeah,
variables.
If I find it, I'll put an announcement out on Discord. Otherwise, Amara, Kevin, or Phil over in lab or open lab. So I saw Amara going to the room over there, so if I figure that's what that should be, I might be able to ask them. Otherwise, if I find the answer later on tonight, I'll put an announcement out or be in the open room. But for the getLine example that was asked, so we added the string library, and then we're going to prompt the user for another thing. So we're going to prompt user for another piece of information. We'll say artist, so we'll say string wave artist. And this could either be a musician, actual artist, whatever we really want. We're going to prompt the user for that, so we're going to do a cout statement.
Right.
And then we're going to have to accept.
So go down to the next line.
As a response from the user. We'll say we're wanting to do getLine, so getLine. And then do send right there, and then wave artist, and we're getting an error real quick. I have to. Okay, the error is just because I haven't finished the line. So that's actually a good thing to note that if you're typing slowly because you're not quite sure what you're typing, it's probably going to throw errors at you pretty quickly if you're typing slow. So don't freak out like I kind of just did, where you're getting an error because I thought I was doing it correctly, and it turns out I was. I just was typing slowly. So just note that you might get errors if you are typing slowly, just trying to understand what you're doing. Once you finish the line, if it's correct, the errors should go away. And on that note, is C++ does a horrific job of what's called rebuilding itself. Anytime that you compile or run the project, it's supposed to build. It doesn't do that all the time, so it could be running a previous working version of what you're doing, even if your code is perfect 100%. If you come across that, or you think you're coming across that, you're going to go to the build menu and click rebuild, and that'll manually rebuild it for you. It's going to give you some little output over here. It shouldn't take more than 5 seconds unless your project is insanely large. After that, you can just play the project, and it should be good. So we're at the point where it's asking us for our favorite game, so I'm going to type Doom. And then it did not let us type in our favorite artist. So, I'm going to figure out why. Rebuild again for good measure. So, boom. Interesting. So at this point, what I'm going to do is show you all how I research things that I want to know. This is basically my method that I do. It usually never fails. When I'm Googling for something, I'm going to start with the language that we're working in. So I'm going to say C++. I can type correctly. And the thing that we're looking for. So in this case, get line. So we can, if we're using Google, we can look at the AI overview real quick that it gives us all the time at this point in day and age. And then sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. It has a bunch of stuff that I don't care about, so we're going to ignore it. Look at this example. It's not working because it's not dependent.
That's what I tried, and that didn't work. That's not right, dude.
So, just for pending, because that's what the AI overview gave me, I was just going to see if it worked, and it didn't. So what I did was I took the standard library and prepended it to get line that did not work. So now what we're going to do is we're looking for websites that we either deem as good or you see throughout the research assignments. So in this case, C++ is good, C++ reference is good, Geeks for Geeks is good. Stack Overflow can be good, but you're dealing with a bunch of people who might write really in-depth answers to people who might write not in-depth answers, and some people who might write in between. Sometimes it's easy to follow, sometimes it's not. Also, you want to pay attention to how long ago the answer was given.
This is pissing me off.
Reddit also can be a good place to get answers, but then you have to deal with editors. Take it or leave it. DigitalOcean. In the past, DigitalOcean has given like very wordy legalese dots. If it's not daunting, go and use it. Otherwise, ignore it. But we did get like Geeks for Geeks right here, which is my all-time preferred one to send people. So, looking at that, basically what I have is in the project is saying it should work. So there's probably something behind the scenes that is breaking. That's not actually breaking the project. That I just have to look up. Amara may also know.
I exactly looked at that code and tried that code myself.
Question on what's a good time frame of the past to consider when researching? My rule of thumb is like 2 years. Some older content, like the language C++ is very old, but it does get dated from time to time. So like you can find something that's like from the 90s, and it might still work, but something within like the past 2 to 5 years is what we're looking for.
It's crazy.
So we're going to close out of that and then comment this, and then I'm going to put a note on it as well. See if you guys can get it to run later on. But to actually show the example, kind of what we did with Favorite Game, we're going to do the same thing.
Instructing us on the fix.
And then we're going to do an output for the artist.
You're so knowledgeable. The fuck?
So now, after rebuilding, running, it's prompting us for a favorite game, that's I do. And then my favorite artist changes from time to time. I'd say right now it's probably Mr. Kitty. It's also very good to note because it broke after the space. So we're going to rerun that and see if it works
lines for.
It still breaks after the space.
It's because that's what get line is for. It'll get the spaces as well. The information that's in the string.
Let me try that. Let me try
Okay, so clearly I understand that when he doesn't. That should be a problem, shouldn't it?
And then if we want to know why, first thing that I would do is C++. Why does anything
I can't believe I did the research to realize what he doesn't realize when he should have known this. So he could have instructed. It was a simple fix. Oh, brother.
It's actually the first time I've encountered this in a demo. And in other languages, you can type full-on paragraphs and it would read and output.
See, get line. See, I don't know why that's being shown because it doesn't.
So that right there. So this entire thing that I quickly scrolled through, I skimmed it. Basically, when we're using sin and not get line, it's reading everything up until white space, so space. Yes. So if I included no space, it would be fine. Where get line would be the entire line or a sentence or a paragraph of what the user typed. So understanding get line and why it is not working seems to be
in case you didn't use get line. If you were just using a single word, it'd work the way you're doing it. Hi.
And then one more time, we'll do it without spaces, just to make sure.
Yes, it's gonna work now.
Yeah. That's pretty much it for day one, besides the get line map mishap, which I encourage you all to research as Mark have been filling lab. And then for campus students, lab is 5:30, pretty sure at 102, the room behind us. For online students, look for the announcement in Discord for Open Lab. I will stay live for another 10-15 minutes for any questions. And then after that, a couple hours, the lecture will be uploaded, and I will get the project on Discord in the announcements channel here in a few minutes.
I've probably done this 10 times now.
You have an hour for like break, lunch, dinner, whatever. Yeah.
If you watch this lecture at least 3 to 4 times. I've wrote down every bit of information that's in this, as well as information that cracked them. It's the third page for lecture 1. That's 30 minutes. This page better be
Even if
full
common,
of truth.
especially if I was like this when they gave me it, I was like, this is the answer. Wait a minute, that was too easy. Isn't the answer? Right, okay. Let me go back to the slides, and I will put that on screen for you. Where are we here? Let's like this. So just on that one.
What are you doing?
So that is for the installation of Visual Studio. Slides will be in the recording. I don't believe they are posted actually on episode, but they will be in the recording. So you'll have that. If I were to give you, I guess, at around 5:30, it should be done processing.
Let me just...
So, it's all automated, so it's whenever it's in processing.
255 plus...
Yeah, it should be up before the end of lab. My honest guess is in about an hour it'll be up.
Outro.
And then...
Pointless.
Follow your schedule. I saw Amara in that class, and they're one of the lab instructors, so it could be over there. It is normally in this class, and I'm in that room, so it could be. You will get the information through the modules at a different pace, but it all should be here. So if you're not looking to go through and rewatch the entirety of lecture, it 100% should be in the modules in some form. Labs are due. I believe. Let me actually just double check. Sometimes it's Sundays, sometimes it's Mondays. Let me go through and check real quick. So week 1, lab 1 is July 7th, lab 2 is July 7th, lab 3 is July 9th. And if I open up the calendar, July 7th is Monday and July 9th is Wednesday. So it's not like the labs are due the same day lecture is. You do have about a week, if not a little bit more, for them. Just note that there is a 48-hour late policy. I'll accept late work 2 days or 48 hours after. So if it's due on Monday, I'll accept it as late as Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. BST. After that, I'll get feedback with them. And then if it's turned in between that 48 hours, it's just minus 10%. It's not a consecutive deduction. It is just a flat 10% deduction. So keep that in mind as well. Also, if you feel like you're going to need extra time, do not wait until the last minute or the weekend to ask for an extension. A lot of the instructors do not have weekend hours. So the latest time that is general good practice to ask for extension is Monday. Or I'm sorry, Fridays.
I don't care about extensions. I'm probably going to be taking this course just because I'm so bad at it. There's no point for me to move on if I'm not good with this. I'm not wasting my college education. I'll take the course if I have to.
That's going to be a lab policy. So in the past,
it just doesn't seem complex to me.
The entirety of the duration of lab. Sometimes it's a lab.
I need to join the next meeting.
Policy is you must remain.
I prefer 1 to 5, but...
Yes, lecture is finished. I'm just saying line, or if you want to answer any questions.
Cool.
Let's see. I think I have everything answered so far. I'll leave it up for about 5 more minutes if I didn't answer anything or if anyone thinks of anything.
He's done. I don't care. Okay. So, we did the first lab.
Sets the result to the actual result we are, and the method is actual.
Okay.
Then open up my panel, and the panel open file. Not see that .sln. Do not have file attention.
Just to make sure, because I want to get a 100% completion, even though I have 100% on the grade.
Now, initially, when this project opens up, you're going to put a blank screen something like this. This is not the project yet. And it looks like this because we have no previously open files, right? So what you don't want to do is you don't want to look at the solution score. It's typically on the right side where you go here. Sometimes it is available on the left side depending on the rate when you solve it, but it's typically going to be on the right side. Click on the solution scores, then open up my panel, and the panel is going to display a list of files that are part of the overall project. So this is your solution, this is your project, and these are all the filters that you put them on the files in the project. You only want to look at the student 2 files. You do not want to look at the back end and change files. Those are all the additional tools and things to make these last. So when you're working in the student work.h file, so you don't see that, you need to expand this student to filter out so you see it. And over here, this should be the information that's displayed on the code in that student work file. For most of the projects, you're working exclusively in the student work file. With 3, you're working
once we don't put the file string.
What you're going to see within those files is a set of instructions that look similar to this.
Okay, so look at lab 2 again. I don't care. We'll look at lab 2, then we'll look at lab 3. Oh, wait, hold on. Should have lab 2 already. SPC. Final submission, right?